right. Okay. I'd like to make a little video to remind my students at the freight and anyone else about holding the bow and holding the fiddle. So first we'll talk about the bow. First of all, look at my hand when it's in the bow. Look what joint the bow is here in my fingers. Look how my pinky is sitting on top. Look how these fingers are just draped over. I'm not trying to grip or do anything like this where I have a lot of tension in my hand. No, I want to have it folded over. When you look underneath, you'll see my thumb has a bend in it. It's not really bent completely like this, but we'll sort of start that way. And we'll take a look at the placement. The placement of my thumb is kind of on this grip, right, not really back here by the frog, not way up here, but just right somewhere about there. So if you can see how my thumb is placed, right here's my bent thumb. Let's see if I can get it. No, I don't think so. There's my thumb, and it's just right about there. These fingers just, I say, fold over. Oh, I have a loose strand of hair here. Okay, so the way we often start is I say we're going to make a little rabbit. So here's my little rabbit. You can see how these fingers are just folding over, and then I'd say the rabbit, it's going to take a bite of the bow, and then my thumb ends up going right about there. These fingers stay draped over. Once it's here, if I have the rabbit ears up, my fingers can actually, by rotating my wrist like this, let's see, like this, you can see that my hand can actually rotate quite a bit. I want to rotate it way over so that my forefinger, my first finger, is actually touching the bow in between this knuckle at the hand and this first joint. So I'm not trying to put way up here at the tips. No, I want it way down in there. And then these fingers just relaxedly go over and my pinky sits on top. Notice the whole time I'm doing this, I'm holding all the weight of the bow with my left hand so that I don't have to work to hold the bow, because basically this is the bow hold. It's not a grip. I should not say a grip, because we're not going to grip the bow and hold onto it really tight. We're going to just basically support the bow. Now if I actually just go like this at the other end with the tip, you can see I still have not put, I'm just basically using whatever tension I need. Oh, look at there, it's in the sun. No, that's too bright. Whatever tension I need just to hold the bow up. My thumb has this bend in it. You can see the bend in my thumb right there. See, bend, thumb, and there. Like that. Pinky can sit on top. My pinky's not stretched out and bent backwards. It's just relaxedly sitting on top. All right, so that's the bow hold. Now the fiddle, we like to have a shoulder rest on the back of the fiddle so that we can hold the fiddle like this and it can sit. You can see it wants to come out somewhere 45-degree angle. This takes a while to get used to. It takes muscles in your neck to hold this that if you're just starting out, you might not be used to having your muscle up here, your neck muscles back here doing so much work, but we want to just be able to put it up here and hold it. So there's a variety of ways where we can get this shoulder rest to try to sit the shoulder rest on our shoulder and then reach over and grab it with what's technically called the mandible right there. So there we are, we're holding the fiddle. And this allows the left hand, which does the fingerings, to, now I'm going to feel a spot right between, once again on this hand, this knuckle joint and this first joint of the finger, so that there's a spot. If you just rub your finger in there, you'll feel that there's a little indentation in there where it's farther in, and that's going to just slide along the corner right here of the fingerboard. So let's see. You can see, try to get it where you can see it. You can see how that's just coming, let's see, right like that. Right along this corner edge of the fingerboard, it sits in there. And also my thumb is right here on the other side, so you might be able to notice that there is actually quite a gap. I'm not really getting all the way up here and cradling it. No, I have quite a hole. And once again, the reason we hold the fiddle up here like this is so we don't have to grip and hold the fiddle up with his hand, but our hand can just grace and slide up and down. And now if I tuck my elbow under like this, you'll watch, if you watch my hand, it just rotates around a little bit, and the fingers quite naturally can curve down and come right down on the tips. If you can see that, right down on the tips of, so I can move my fingers around from string to string. Oh, don't worry, I have a 5-string violin, so there's an extra string on here. But I can move my fingers around on the tips, and part of this is by tucking my elbow under like this, which rotates my hands around to come down comfortably on the tips of the fingers so that I can use the very tip of the finger where the bone is closest. Now if I can hold it, oops, this way, out of the way. If I can hold the bow once again in this way, I'm going to make it straight up and down so that once again I have my little rabbit, put it down here, pinky on top. If I bring the bow right over here, and now the fiddle is carrying the weight of the bow. So I really barely have to hold the bow at all because the string is carrying the bow. Now, so if the string is carrying the bow, these fingers can be quite relaxed, and their job is just to make the bow go back and forth. And look, watch this hand over here. Not much tension at all. Just basically, now, and then if I want to change strings, I just pick my elbow up because I want to have my hand position stay pretty much the same on the bow. So the way we change strings, I can move my fingers a little bit and do things like this, but the way we change strings is by moving it with the elbow. That's the basic thing about holding the fiddle and making the bow work. This is Eric Hoffman, signing